G'day trendsetters, I'm JOM with Gravel Cyclist, and I'm coming to you today with a video that's a little bit different than my usual ride experience videos. I'm not going to spoil it, but I will preface by saying I have a newfound respect for adventure cyclists. And I'm talking about the type of people who like to bike pack, multi-day tours, where they carry their own tent, bivvy, camping supplies, cooking supplies and more, or of course those folks who love adventure type racing where they're self-supported for many days on end. The TNGA is one such event that comes to mind. To those folks, I tip my hat to you. During this video I'll be providing some analysis, so without further delay, let's roll the video. G'day trendsetters, today I'm coming to you from Gainesville, Florida, middle January 2021. It's about 5:30 in the morning. I'm heading out for a very long bike ride. This is my birthday ride. I turned a milestone birthday, let's just say that, a few days ago, so I wanted to knock out a crazy ride. There's my bike all loaded up, the T-Lab X3 with a bunch of gear on board. I will do a video showing what gear is on the bike and so on, assuming this ride is successful. Let's get cracking. The bloody bike weighs about 47 pounds. Well, we'll just do what we can. You may be unable to see very much at this particular moment, but I am riding the very first sector of mixed surfaces. It's hard to enunciate words right now because the temperature is about 35 Fahrenheit. Fun times. That's about, I think, 2 degrees Celsius. Stopping momentarily to enjoy the sunrise, have a snack. I've got plenty of chow on board, Lara bars, Cliff bars, goo products, but I am looking forward to eating real food as the journey progresses. The road ahead is well illuminated at this time of the morning. It's almost 7 AM. Still cold as bloody hell. It's going to be a cracker of a day. Plenty of sunshine later on, and it should warm up to about, I believe, 58 Fahrenheit. Funny thing about the Florida cold weather, it's very humid. People think, ha, how can 32, 38, whatever feel cold, like say up north or out west in the United States, but the humidity has a real bite. It's very damp obviously, so it makes things a little bit challenging, especially dressing. This ride served two purposes. One, as a mega adventure ride, and two, as an opportunity to review several products that I have toting on the bike in this video. From the Astral Cycling whirl set fitted with a Sun Deluxe generator hub, to the Sinewave Cycles Lite, to the Kai Venture bags that are carrying some of my equipment, and also to the Apogura Racing long top tube pack, and the tires on the bike, the V Rubber Company Rocket Man. It's an amazing view, folks. I forgot to mention it rained quite a bit last night, so that explains why there's quite a bit of humidity this morning. Incidentally, if this ride goes to plan and I actually finish it, I'm riding from Gainesville, Florida up towards Valdosta, Georgia, then across to Tallahassee and back to Gainesville. A distance of approximately 420 miles. Kilometers, it's about, I think, 671, thereabouts. Here was my first mistake, being overly ambitious. I set off on Saturday, January 16 with the idea of knocking out this distance in about 2 days. Worst case scenario, I had a third day available to me, namely the Martin Luther King holiday on January 18. Hopefully you can see that, folks. It's a balmy 2 degrees Celsius. Down there be the Santa Fe River. Ah, there we go. The sun is truly rising. that feels amazing. You may be able to hear from my breathing in the video, I was riding a decent pace, but it was a pace that obviously required me to put out some exertion, particularly as I was toting around 47 pounds of bike weight. Now, most people I know who are into bikepacking, they're not eyeballing the speed, and they generally divide their rides into much smaller chunks. And in terms of their pacing, well, a lot of people might say they're riding party pace. And I think if you're going to be toting around these sorts of loads, that's the wisest thing you can do. Hello, cows. It is super peaceful this morning. Oh yes, the sun is rising beautifully. This is going to be a pearler of a day, as we say in Australia, because earlier in the darker hours it was veritable brass monkey weather. Now, in case anybody's wondering, I am planning to sleep, well, at some point in the woods, who knows where. I do have a bivvy, I've got a inflatable base pad, nice sleeping bag, emergency blanket type shindig, and trying to think, oh yes, inflatable pillow. So should be fun times. In retrospect, I really should have planned where I was going to stop and set up my potential camping spot rather than winging it. Again, this played into my whole mantra of being overly ambitious with this ride. Riding parallel at the moment to Interstate 75. For those folks not in the United States, that's a pretty major highway, runs way north, I believe into Detroit, if memory serves me correctly. Cruising along nicely. Just imagine if I took my bivvy and had a sleep by the interstate. That'd be peaceful, wouldn't it? Well, it's slowly warming up. Still see my breath. I've got a really nice set of older Assos gloves, 3-layer system with a lobster kind of thing on top. Hands are pretty tasty right now. Toasty, not tasty, toasty. There's a great look at my steed, precariously balanced. Okay, it's time to get cracking on. Cattle crossing. There's some pavement on this route, it's unavoidable really. No complaints so far. I am expecting some dodgy roads. This is a super quiet paved road somewhere way north Florida. Is this beautiful or what? Hello, I mean you no harm. The goal with this ride is obviously to have a lot of fun. It's going to be very challenging, and to pedal without feeling my legs so much. So I'm not killing it. Here's the official welcome sign. The city limits for Lake City. Straight ahead is downtown Lake City. This is a little town I've visited in the past and has been featured in one of my ride experience videos. So, trendsetters, I have a bit of a headwind coming out of the north, not too crazy, but heading west there's definitely a wind, so I adjusted my route to effectively reverse it and ride it counterclockwise. So all being well, I have a tailwind of sorts by the time I head east again, which is going to be, well, quite some time. The day's temperatures were cool, as I stated earlier, but a lot of people watching this video do these sorts of adventures in much colder temperatures. So that point aside, what was a bit of a struggle was the wind. Now, I ride into headwinds and so on all the time, but when I'm riding an unladen bike, that's generally no problem. But when I was trying to cut a swathe through a headwind gusting up to 20 miles an hour, the profile of the bike with the extra bags and so on meant it was quite a struggle. Here we are right into the center of Lake City, Florida. There's a nice little entrance there, or I should say placard, historic downtown. Maybe out of camera shot is the county courthouse. Beautiful square here in the center of town, and directly ahead is City Hall and a number of local businesses and so on. Looks like they're renovating City Hall. They are indeed. Oh, look at that. Halpata Brewing Company. I'll have to come back and visit that place for sure. Bloody brilliant. Henry Wilson Performing Arts Theatre right there. Used to be the old movie theatre in town, I guess. I'm on the northern edge of Lake City right now. Gel time. The delicacies of this ride are amazing so far. Right there is the Apogera long top tube pack, which I'm reviewing. In fact, I'm reviewing a lot of stuff on this ride. Bags, wheel set, sine wave light, all sorts of crazy stuff, but time to down some of this. One thing to notice is the Apogera long top tube pack does not whack my knees, and below that is a custom bag by my good mate Kai Venture Bags out of Los Angeles, California. The other thing to note is every time I stuck my face with food on the bike here, dropping weight. The overall bike weight at the start of the ride, with all the water bottles and so on, there's only 2 water bottles actually, I'm going light but I'm going through a lot of towns, was 47.6 pounds. So that includes all my sleeping gear, of course, and the bivvy and whatnot. I don't know if that's good or bad. One thing that's for certain, this tail fin cycling rack, which I have reviewed in the past, and I'll link that in the description below, the trunk bag is absolutely bloody amazing. I've got my sleeping bag, my pad, a bunch of crap in there, some extra clothes, emergency bivvy, like a blanket kind of thing, some tools, spare tubes, all that sort of stuff jammed in there, and it's not making a single noise. And for a bike that, you know, is probably 47 pounds now, it's riding pretty nice actually. I'm riding a newly paved road. Check out the wind heading in the west direction. Bloody hell. Riding in a northwesterly direction, really feeling this headwind. Just cruising, try not to fill the legs. My first obstacle of the day, a landfill. There's no way I'm going to jump that fence. I could, but not worth it. So I'm going to backtrack a little ways and keep fingers crossed, folks, this backtrack works out. One thing I have not shown in the video to this point is some of the reroutes I had to take. So whilst you have a good plan in mind and you do as much scouting as you can, and I have ridden a good chunk of this course, there's still some uncharted areas, and a few of those caught me out. So just the extra energy of rerouting, going back upon yourself and so on, it all adds up. Plan B worked a treat. Welcome to the small community of Winfield. This westward headwind is a complete mongrel. Just slowing down, trying not to kill myself, because I am going to be feeling my legs at some point pretty soon, I expect, even though I'm about 1/6 of the way through the route, so a long way to go. Folks, welcome to White Springs, Florida, which is also home to the Swanee Bicycle Club. I'm going to cross the Swanee River momentarily. taking the sidewalk so you can get a nice scenic view of the river. The Joseph W. McAlpin Bridge. And by the way, the Swanee is a fantastic river to kayak. Admittedly, the water did look a bit murky back there, but I have kayaked there in the past. It is very nice. Welcome to historic White Springs, Florida. US Post Office for White Springs, Florida, zip code 32096. I've ridden through this town many times, so I just haven't produced a ride experience video. So I'm not going to be messing around here very long, making a quick trip to the gasoline station convenience store. There's the water tower, folks. Just made a quick visit to the convenience store here in White Springs. Got myself some classic garbage. I was really hoping for a pizza or something like that, but hopefully I'll score some pizza in Valdosta. Beautiful house right there. I'll definitely have to visit White Springs again in the future. Leaving White Springs. This bloody westerly wind is killing me. Wow. The wind is a mongrel when you're riding a small chainring and you're barely holding 20 k's an hour. Notice the swinging of the Spanish moss above. Current status, middle of nowhere, somewhere in way north central Florida. With some very boggy roads, I might add. Obviously quite a bit of rain fell here last night. I happen to be in a very swampy area at the moment. Pick a plank bridge. On the right side of the road is a property owned by a company named Nutrien. Looks like a massive landfill. I did fly my drone in the past over this property. If I can find that footage, I'll overlay it. I'm getting buffeted non-stop by this bloody wind. What a slog. In that previous video clip, I've been pushing into a long section of pavement, about 10 or 11 miles, full on block headwind, and that was again where I really felt the bike, the extra load and so on. It was also about that time that I thought, you know, it's probably time to lower your expectations just a little bit. I appear to be on an old road. It's closed, I believe, and I have to tell you, this westbound wind is bloody killing me. It's been gusting up to about 18 mile an hour sometimes. It's supposed to die down around about 5 p.m. so hopefully just keep chugging along. I've got about 45 miles to go to reach Valdosta. The way this wind's going, it's going to take me another 3 or 4 hours to clock those miles. Well, hello there, pavement ends. Welcome folks to Jasper, Florida. There's a rail trail right here that used to be the Robo line that went through the town once upon a time. Rolling into downtown Jasper, I have to say the section between White Springs and here is very tough. You know you're desperate for calories when you're going to purchase some Hunt Brothers pizza. Into the shop we go, hopefully get some pizza. Sorry. He's a good lad, guarding the four-wheeler right there. Alright, I got some bloody pizza. Garbage, but I need some savoury calories. I retract what I said. Hunt Brothers Pizza is quite amazing when you've spent the last hour or so busting your ass into a full-on block headwind. Gator Chevrolet, that's An old dealership for sure. Used to say Silverado City once upon a time, so obviously they sold a lot of Chevy Silverados. Falling through downtown Jasper, still windy as hell. Here's a little bit about the roadway, the bike trail nowadays. Unfortunately, most of these businesses are out of business. I've ridden through Jasper in the past, so I'll have to knock out a ride from this town and explore it proper. There is City Hall on the left. Here is the Hamilton County Courthouse Annex, and there's another good view of the flags flapping in the breeze. While I'm not using the headlight, the sine wave cycle's headlight, I'm going to charge this Garmin Varia. I've got a second Garmin Varia here in the bag, which is charged up, ready to go. So I'll snap that on, and then I'll use the maximum charge function, as in no lighting, to charge this bugger up. So there's the light, there's the cable plugged in, all being well. I'll start riding in a minute and this little bugger will start charging up. Welcome to Jennings, Florida. It's very late in the day. Well, actually it's not. I think it's close to 3:30. Anyway, I'm drawing close to the Georgia border. In fact, I shot a ride experience video starting from this town and heading into Valdosta, which is my next planned stop. Leaving Jennings, Florida. I am really feeling the pinch. I've only got about 27 miles to Valdosta. Good stuff, and I'll be at the Georgia border in about 3 or 4 miles. Into Georgia, finally. This is another very slow road due to the rain last night. Definitely slowing things down a bit. I am creeping along right now. The road is so slow, and I am feeling my legs, obviously. These rain-sodden, sandy roads are rough as bags. Bloody hell. I'm trying not to whine, whinge, and complain too much. Today has been very challenging for sure, and it's not over yet. Welcome to Lake Park, Georgia. You'll have to forgive my lack of commentary. I am pretty tired. I've been riding over 9 hours. This wind has just been bloody relentless. Got about 25 k's to go, I think, to Valdosta. Lake Park, Georgia, downtown. I've ridden through this town many times, and I believe I have a ride experience video which features this town at some point, so I will link that in the description below. Leaving Lake Park, Georgia. This paved road I'm traversing at the very moment is telling me, and a sign back there, that it is a dead-end road. So I guess we're going to find out momentarily. So this is indeed a dead-end road. However, and more than likely it's private property, but there is a sandy road just beyond this scrub. This part of the video is where the wheels started falling off, and I was going to potentially, more like definitely, lose a bunch of time. Yes, this is a very nicely groomed field, and these are massive tractor tracks. However, there's the road. It is nice to be walking for a moment and actually stretch my back out. All of my best planning, I thought this road was going to be legitimate and I would merrily continue along my way. Deep as crap sand here. Hopefully it's solid enough to support my bike and not be too much of a drag. Between now and the next scene, and unfortunately this section is not on video, I had a rather annoying chihuahua harassing me with non-stop barking. It was also likely at this point in the video I was trespassing, so it didn't help that I had a chihuahua giving away my whereabouts. I'm totally riding on some guy's farm, and there's not even a road that exists on the map, so I'm just following tyre tracks of their driveway, so to speak, and hopefully I'll get back onto my course. I think I'm sort of finding my way back to my route. There's a big house over there with a ton of cars. Some dude in a four-wheeler just drove past, saw me, didn't say anything, just kept going. So, okay, I guess I'm just going to keep going and hoping for the best here. Although there's a ditch down there and that's going to be a problem trying to traverse. I might have to backtrack after all. Bloody hell. So after playing around in the orange grove, I think it was, attempting to cross a culvert, backtrack through a forest, and then bush bash or hike a bike through a forest where I tore my legs up pretty good, I had another altercation with the chihuahua from before and eventually backtracked. Unfortunately, none of these antics were captured on camera because I was fearful of potentially getting in trouble with the landowner, even though I was legitimately lost at the time. In fact, a couple of my good friends who care about my well-being were watching my tracker and wondering why I was going round and round in circles in a big field. Well, that was interesting. Thankfully, I'm back onto some semblance of normality, a paved road. I trusted the Garmin. Basically, I backtracked and said, Garmin, please take me to Valdosta. Today has proven to be quite an adventure. Behind me, the Garmin routing suggested I go to a hunting club, and I am not up for riding to a hunting club on the edge of darkness. So I figured out another plan B. Well, I was supposed to be in Valdosta about, oh my god, 2.5 hours ago, so the best laid plans go astray. Super slow golf cart ahead. You guys need a better motor in that thing. This isn't exactly my favourite route. I'm riding north on US 41, but it is what it is. All of a sudden my legs feel amazing, mostly because the bloody wind has dropped off. There is the city limits for Jasper, Georgia. Well, here we are riding around on a mixed surface road at about 6:30 at night in the woods. You probably can't see a bloody thing. Sorry about that, folks. At this point in the ride, I'd pretty much stopped having fun. Now that seldom happens with me, and I'm not a complainer generally. It was like I just lost my mojo. The temperature had dropped into the low 30s, and I just wasn't really mentally prepared with the prospect of camping outside in a bivvy in some location I was hoping to find in pitch black. And whilst I had tested my sleeping gear and so on, I wasn't feeling confident it was warm enough for the coming night's cold. By the same token, I wasn't thrilled about staying in a hotel, but on the positive, I had ridden more than 1/3 of my route. Here we are, welcome to Valdosta. You probably cannot see the city limit sign, but I'm here. The footage you just saw is the last that I recorded on this day before I decided to execute plan B, which is call my good friend Jolie to drive from Gainesville, Florida to Valdosta, Georgia to pick me up. I was hiding out at a Waffle House, and putting it mildly, that is the definition of an amazing friend. Thank you very much, Jolie. And by the way, fellas, Jolie is single. My one regret from the Waffle House scene is that I didn't think to record, like I'm doing right now, my frozen commentary. I was cold and tired, and it would have been interesting to see what I had to say. And it's funny for me just to look back at that moment in time and think, what the hell was I subjecting to myself? And to remind me, okay, hopefully you learned a lesson from this. So folks, this adventure was not all bad, because whilst I was waiting for my friend Jolie to pick me up, I arranged for a brunch date the very next morning, which I'm pleased to say went 5 hours. How amazing is that? Fantastic. Going back to what I said at the start of the video, I have garnered so much respect for those folks who truly love bikepacking and the true adventure racing. Not 200 miles in a day, but I'm talking about those crazy multi-day adventure races. Those sorts of things simply are not for me. This experience has taught me that I'm more into credit card packing, and that is something I've done in the past. I rode with a good mate of mine out of Washington DC up to Cumberland, Maryland via the C&O towpath canal. We had a very light backpack on, a change of clothes, we stayed in a couple of hotels, and then we took the Amtrak back. That's my kind of bike packing, which isn't bike packing. Credit card packing, slack packing, flash packing, whatever you like to call it. My route for this ride does need some work, but I'm going to attempt it again in the future, but with a different mindset. I'm going to divide it probably into 4 days, say 100-mile chunks, and ideally once COVID has gone bye-bye or dissipated somewhat, I'm going to drag along some of my really good mates and have 4 days of riding fun, checking out the countryside and staying in a hotel, showering and relaxing and enjoying food. But for those folks who like bikepacking and adventure racing, I hope you have your own fun too. Finally, this ride enabled me to get plenty of miles on some of the review equipment I alluded to earlier, so you have those to look forward to coming on the gravelcyclist.com website and YouTube channel and every other part of social media. Thank you for tagging along with my latest exploits. It's not my usual type of video, but regardless, I hope you enjoyed. As always, thank you for watching, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Gravel Cyclist YouTube channel, and don't forget to click the bell button, the notification bell. It tells you when there's new videos, new madness coming to the Gravel Cyclist YouTube channel. I've got future ride experience videos, product reviews, bike reviews, group set reviews, all sorts of craziness. I'll see you in the next video.